Hey, everybody, welcome back to another Motivation Monday podcast for Monday, April 2nd, 2018. Hope everybody had a great Easter, a great April Fool's Day, and welcome back. I have to start by apologizing for missing the Motivation Monday podcast last week, but that's actually going to be the topic of discussion for this week's Monday Motivation podcast. So the reason that I missed the show last week was I was in New York for the weekend, playing a gig on Friday night, and then I actually spent the weekend all the way until Monday morning. And stupid me, I did not plan ahead and make a Monday motivation podcast. So by the time I got back, I realized in my whirlwind of stuff to do that I was going to miss one. So I do apologize for that. But I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about my trip to New York. Now, I'm lucky because I'm only about a 4 hour drive from New York. So I can just hop in the car and be there in an afternoon whenever I want to. And that's been a hugely awesome thing in my life, is to be able to go and check out certain gigs, or if somebody's coming to town and they're playing with a band that I really want to see, I can just hop in the car, drive down there, check it out, and then drive back. Now, that's obviously a long day, but it's definitely possible. And this trip to New York was amazing. On top of playing a little bit of music, I got to see a bunch of friends that are doing really, really well down there, really making their mark on the jazz scene. And then I got to see some amazing music. And if you've never been to New York, there's really a reason that it's the center of kind of the jazz universe. Not only the history of the music, so much of the history of this music that we know and love is coming out of New York City. I mean, the list of musicians that made their home in New York throughout history is miles long, and it's still like that to this day. It is still literally the center of the universe when it comes to jazz and creative music. So honestly, just the feeling of being in that city makes you really kind of sit up straight. Just the pace of everything around there, the level that everybody is at, and the amount of amazing music that you can go and see on a nightly basis is really, truly inspiring. And I try to get down there, every 2 to 3 months. Despite having a really busy schedule, it's just something that I feel I have to do, because every time I come back, I'm just so charged up and ready to get on the instrument and ready to do all the things that I need to do, just from kind of being in that environment. And I will say that, at my age now, I'm not really going to move there. There would have to be some pretty serious circumstances that push me in the direction of moving there. So for me, it's all about visiting. And I wanted to kind of make that my piece of advice for this week, is you've got to get to New York. And I'll go even further and say you've got to get to New York at least once a year and just be in that city and feel what that city is all about, and check out the music that's happening in that city, and maybe take some lessons from people down there and experience the side of New York from a musician's point of view, because there really isn't a heavier place than New York. Everywhere you turn, you can run into a musician. I was simply just walking around Manhattan, and I saw, like three of my favorite young musicians just walking down the street with their horns. There's no other place that kind of thing can happen. And it's just a really important place in the United States and in the world when it comes to the music that we all know and love. So that's my piece of advice for this week: is get to New York, see some music, catch up on your sleep before you go there, because you are definitely going to want to stay out until 4 or 5 in the morning. It's just that kind of place. I think I counted 13 different jam sessions in Manhattan that go from like 1 a.m. to 5 a.m. And even if you're not ready to play with those people, just go and hang out and check out what's going on, and check out some of those players that you really can't hear anywhere else, and just check out the level the level at which everybody is playing is insane. And it's just a real pleasure to be around and a real pleasure to experience. Not to mention, there's like 1,000 other things to do and see and eat in New York that make it a wonderful place, even if you weren't a jazz musician. But for all of us out there that are listening to this podcast, you are a jazz musician, so you have an even better reason to go to a place like New York. Now, let's say you live on the West Coast or Europe or something like that, and I guess if you live in Europe, it would be easier to get to New York than anywhere else in the United States. But let's say you live on the West Coast of the United States and it's tough for you to get to New York. It's a long flight. It's expensive. Go somewhere like Chicago, you know? That's a little bit closer. That has an amazing jazz scene. I just feel like you got to kind of, jazz is really, it's city music. And coming from somebody who lives around a lot of trees and loves that, I got to get to the city every once in a while and just get that pace of life and get that inspiration. So let me know the last time you've been in New York. Let me know about an awesome experience that you've had in New York. I would love to share it on the show. Could be New York or any other city. But let me know why it inspires you, why you keep going back to that place. What's your favorite music venue to check out? Anything. Just drop me a line and let's talk about New York a little bit. All right? Okay, we'll see you on Friday with a regularly scheduled episode. Actually, episode 100 is coming out on Friday, so I'm really, really excited about that. Stay tuned to the podcast and the Facebook page for a lot of really exciting announcements. We have some stuff that we're going to start doing after episode 100 that I think you guys are really, really going to like. So make sure you tune in and we'll lay all that stuff on you. All right, have a great week. Get on the horn, get some work done, and we'll see you later on. Bye.